Now, it's no surprise that Bernie Sanders wants to fix our infrastructure. He's been talking about that for a very, very long time. He's been talking about it for years. Let's fix our crumbling roads. Let's fix our bridges. Let's fix our water pipes. Let's fix all of that and put Americans back to work. In fact, that was one of his plans during the primary campaign that he ran against Hillary Clinton. Now, on that front, he told reporters that he would be willing to work with Donald Trump if Trump was interested in working on infrastructure, right? Or working on anything that actually helps Americans, get back to work and to fix that infrastructure that he obviously cares about. Now, he told reporters, quote, to the degree that Mr. Trump is serious about pursuing policies that improve the lives of working families in this country, I and other progressives are prepared to work with Donald Trump. Now, that is, of course, until he saw Trump's infrastructure plan. Once he took a look at that, well, he was like, what the hell is this crap? Apparently, according to Sanders, Donald Trump's infrastructure plan would benefit extremely wealthy corporations. Honestly, now, who did not see that one coming? Pretty sure I did.
Right.
That's pretty much what Donald Trump stands for is, hey, I'm a rich person and I want to help fellow rich people like me.
Well, not just that, but he is a snake oil salesman who sold the working class snake oil and they bought it. And now he's expecting the Democratic Party to buy it too. And, with the exception to a few outliers, Bernie Sanders probably being one of them, they're probably going to buy it because they don't have the spine or courage to do otherwise.
Yeah, and that's sad. That is incredibly sad. So now, Bernie Sanders tweeted out earlier, Trump's plan to repair our infrastructure is a scam that gives massive tax breaks to large companies and billionaires. And he wrote an article in Medium that I want to share some of that with, where he talks about this plan. He said, during the presidential campaign, Trump correctly talked about rebuilding our country's infrastructure. Great. But the plan he offered is a scam that gives massive tax breaks to large corporations and billionaires on Wall Street who are already doing phenomenally well. Now, Trump would allow corporations that have stashed their profits overseas. Remember, there's about $2 trillion that are sitting overseas right now that corporations have stashed away because, oh my God, I don't want to pay American taxes. Like, I made fun of Apple, for example, for stashing all their money, and CEO Tim Cook for saying, look, I don't want to pay my taxes. Why should I have to pay for that? No, I'm just going to take my profits that I made from selling all my stuff over here, and I'm going to stash it over in the Cayman Islands, and I'm not going to bring it back until you give me a special sweetheart deal. Well, I'm not getting that deal. Ron, are you getting that deal? Are you getting your taxes lowered? Are you getting a promise to? No. If you sent money overseas, which, look, to be honest, we couldn't afford to do that, would we get a deal like that? No. We would get screwed. But we're not a multinational corporation. It turns out corporations are treated better than people are. Even though corporations are supposed to be people. I know. Amazing.
Crazy.
But that's what's going on. Now, he also called... I'm sorry, hold on. He basically, as I said, Trump would allow corporations to bring back this money. And then he would allow the companies to invest in infrastructure projects, air quotes, invest, in exchange for even more tax breaks. See, he would bring that money back at about 10% tax rate. And then on top of that, if you invest in certain projects, you get even more tax breaks. So they could end up paying nothing, essentially. He calls it corporate welfare. The whole plan, corporate welfare, straight up. And that's exactly what it is. Now he continues, unlike Trump's plan, which creates new tax loopholes and is a corporate giveaway, my Rebuild America Act would be paid for by eliminating tax loopholes that allow hugely profitable multinational corporations to stash their profits in offshore tax havens around the world. So he calls out Trump's plan and says, look at my plan. My plan actually does something. It actually goes to fix infrastructure. And Donald Trump's wouldn't. It's just another giveaway that is disguised in the vein of, hey, I care about infrastructure. I care about fixing roads and bridges. Now, see,
Classic snake oil.
yeah, and here's why. Because look, the plan is this basically repatriation holiday. And what it would do is that he would plan to offer $137 billion in tax breaks to private investors who want to finance other things that actually will make them money. For example, toll roads, toll bridges, and projects that generate their own revenue. So anything that you can make a buck off of, he says you can invest that and get a massive tax break. So what does that do for infrastructure projects like bridges and water? I mean, water pipes, like, for example, the ones in Flint. You're not going to make money off that. So I guess he's just not going to spend the money on fixing Flint. That's pretty much what this whole thing is about. In fact, there's Edward Glaser, right, who's a Harvard economist, says, Trump's plan is unlikely to do much for road and bridge maintenance, and economists have long believed that the highest returns are for fixing existing infrastructure instead of creating new toll roads and toll bridges, which is essentially what these people would do because, hey, we're going to invest money to make us more money because, look, that's what smart business is.
Yeah, I mean, it's creating infrastructure that could potentially even be unnecessary. I mean, redoing our infrastructure is necessary, but to build on more and add additional toll roads, I mean, who knows if what they are coming up with would even be in demand. So yeah, I mean, it's just like infrastructure. It's just creating a profit center guised as infrastructure.
That's pretty much what it is. And, yeah, I mean, you've nailed it there. Now, here's somebody that we don't agree with pretty much most of the time, I would assume. You know, if you've even heard of this guy. His name's Randall O'Toole, right? Already, funny name. Now, he is it says a guy who has the last name of Waldorf, and I've heard it all. Trust me. Growing up. Now, Randall O'Toole is a transportation analyst at the Libertarian Cato Institute, and he is in favor of privatizing infrastructure. Now, this is, as I said, this is a guy that we don't agree with on pretty much anything. Even
No,
this guy.
all you need to say there was Cato Institute, and I've heard everything I need to hear.
But no, you haven't heard everything. This guy says Trump's plan's got some issues, man. I don't like this. Interesting. Now, for one, he said there's a lot of infrastructure that is already profitable to invest money in. For example, electrical grids, he says. He says we would be giving tax breaks to private owners who would be investing in that infrastructure anyway. So what would be the point? And he says, second, governments fund a lot of infrastructure that is not profitable, like, for example, rail. And he says no amount of tax breaks would get private investors to spend money on infrastructure that doesn't pay. So basically, he's saying those are the flaws with the plan. If it doesn't make you money, why would they invest in it? So fuck public transportation, fuck anything that doesn't make money for shareholders. Now, there is a lot of public services that do not make money, but they're valuable to society, and they make sense to have. And see, this is why I say that government should not be run like a business, because there's a lot of services that are vital that are going to be left off because they don't make money, but they're things that we need, things that we actually use. So, and here's the other thing, too. You know what should run like a business? A business. The government and the business, well, in businesses, they're not the same, okay? Look, the government is not supposed to make money. That's why we went after the Department of Education, for example, for making money, for profiting off of student loans. That was bullshit. You shouldn't be making money off people. You're not a business. Don't try to act like a business. Because we have
government is
businesses
not
for
a
that.
business, and people aren't widgets.
Yes, we have. So the reason that we have businesses is because the government doesn't do things. We don't want government to do everything. We do want there to be private enterprise. But we also want the government to do stuff in the public interest. turning government into a business, that is not the way to do that. And it always frustrates me when I get into arguments with people. Government should run like a business. So you mean basically cold calculated profit motive? There's nothing wrong with making profit. I'm in favor of making profit. I would like to make some profit myself one of these days. But that doesn't mean I want the government to run like that. It's just not like it's not what we want government to do. Government has its own job, and so does private business, and they should not be mixing. And that's the problem here. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.